All right, Andy, just being at spring training these last few weeks, it seems like there is a culture around here that if you're not busting your butt, if you're not working to your full potential, it's like, see ya, we got other options. Am I correct in feeling that, or is that not how you would describe it?
Probably not so callous, but I think there is truth to the fact that we want to create a culture where guys work to improve by 1% every single day, where like they understand, like if we're going to get to where we need to get, you have to get better, we have to get collectively better. And there is competition. There are guys, like when you look over your shoulder, there's another guy in the outfield that's really good. And it's not an indictment on your ability level, it's just a reality of where we are right now is we have options where we haven't the last couple of years. It was pretty obvious who was going to play and everybody knew that, but I like the culture of competition. Makes this an interesting week.
How can that culture too manifest itself in wins and losses this year or in future years?
Competition's what drives athletes. It's what makes you better. It's you look to the guy next to you and you go, I got to play better, or I'm not going to play at all. I think we've seen that in spring training. We've played better baseball this year in spring, without question, than we have in the first 2 years. Fundamentals have been crisper. We've done things better. Still not there, but there's a lot to like.
Anyone that surprised you this spring training, either by trying to crack the roster or just showing up with like a different mindset or a different work ethic?
I think you look at, you always come in with your kind of ballpark idea of who your 30 guys are going to be. And the fun thing about spring is there's always somebody on the outside of those 30 guys that comes out of nowhere and you look up and you're like, that guy's got a chance to make the team. We really like what he brings. And there's been guys in the bullpen that have been that way. Adam Simber's one of those guys right now. I'm not saying he's making the team or not making the team, but he wasn't in the top 30 when we came into spring training, and that's not an indictment on him. That's just he's one of those guys that has to prove it again and again and again, and he's throwing the ball really well in spring training. And it's going to be a tough decision with him and a few other guys coming down to the wire here in camp to decide who breaks with us.
You've got veterans in the clubhouse now who have experienced a lot of ups and downs at the major league level and have experienced winning and world championships at the major league level. You've got a first base coach that's experienced longevity and winning at the major league level, a hitting coach who's done the same. And on top of that, they're good guys. They want to help these younger guys find that success as well. How valuable is what you've created there?
I love the staff, and honestly, like we've made changes in the past with guys I love and appreciate too, but we wanted some of that experience, some of that hey, know-how, because I've already been there. Mark McGuire's always provided that for us, but now you have Skip Schumacher and Matt Stairs bringing that in. Then you got some youthful energy in Josh Johnson, and I get to say youthful because he's like, I got a couple coaches younger than me on staff, but it's a nice mix. I think guys respond well to kind of, there's a variety of voices they can go to for perspective, and all those guys bring that, but they bring championship mentality, and that's big for us.
Every year you're learning, you're tweaking, you're trying to work on this team. How close is it? Maybe not in wins where you want it yet, but how close is it as far as identity, vibe, coaching staff to where your vision is?
It's getting closer, and that's all I can say. Like you want it to surpass your own vision. You want to have people add to that vision. If it's just yours, it's not going to be very good. So you want coaches to come in and give them ownership of their vision in the respective areas which they lead. So like we allow that to happen, and so it doesn't turn into everything I envisioned, but it turns into something better. And all those guys, they've got that latitude to lead in their respective areas, and they always get input from me and AJ, but they've got the latitude to lead, and I think it's closer now by far. We've come light years from where we were when I got here in 2016 to where we are now, and I think that's eventually going to lead us to where we want to be.
You talk about improving every area of your baseball team. You guys were last in the league in runs and on-base percentage last year, brought in a hitting coach to emphasize even more getting on base, more lineup protection it seems, an improved infield defense, more veterans. Where do you see the biggest strength of the team as you head into this season, and where's the biggest question mark or area for improvement?
Yeah, we have some leadership now, which is something from a position player standpoint we hadn't invested in the past. It's not that we didn't value it, but we were in such talent acquisition mode that we were going to take the Rule 5 picks, we're going to put them on the roster, and I'm thrilled Luis Trens and Miguel Diaz are now in our minor league system working, and hopefully Alan Cordoba gets back and gets to working again, and I think they're going to work their way back to impact us in a profound way in the future. It's going to prove that all that was worth it. But now we have guys that know how to do it. So like we have a strength of knowledge in the clubhouse we have to tap into that we didn't have the access to last year. So I feel like we're getting closer from that standpoint. You know, we have work to do literally in every single area, but you know, we've walked the spring training. That's something we haven't done in the past. We've gotten on base better. I think you add a couple on base threats to the lineup. That's going to help us get on base. And we have the opportunity this year, something we haven't had since I've been here, which is, hey, you don't match up well against this guy. Somebody else does. We can use somebody else. And part of what we've had to do, and I remember 2 years ago in particular with Travis Jankowski, who's running out every day in center field, there were times when you knew it wasn't a great matchup for him. And his numbers would have been astronomically better had he not had to face those matchups and you had somebody that you could use. So now we can put Hunter Renfroe in situations to thrive. And if Franchi Cordero's on the team, you put him in situations to thrive. And you know, you utilize those guys in an optimal way for your club.
You mentioned it, there's competition at the backup catcher position, there's competition at second base, there's competition inside the starting rotation. How tough is this as a manager this week, just even from like a humanistic standpoint?
It's tough because you're empathetic, because you know what it feels like. I can go back to 2006 and I was literally, we'd played our exhibition game at Chase Field. I was with the Diamondbacks and I was sitting in the clubhouse with one other guy. The team was on the plane or on the bus ready to go to the airport, and they didn't know which one of the two of us we were going to take. So there's like, you literally can't go any later than I've been. I know what that feels like. I know what that feels like for a family. I know what it feels like for guys that are just hungry to establish themselves as a big leaguer in their career. And I know what it feels like when opening day feels like the biggest thing in the world, when in reality it's one of 162. But you can't convince a player of that, and you're not going to even try to convince a player of that. So you feel for guys right now because you understand what it feels like, but you have to make the best decisions for your club, and you understand that guys you send to the minor leagues, just like last year, like the two of the biggest impact guys we had last year were Jose Perello and Carlos Aswai and Corey Spangenberg. All three of those guys, they all started in the minor leagues last year, and they all came up to have a big impact on our 2017 season. So that 25 we write on the lineup card the first day of the season, that's not going to be like indicative of who's going to have the biggest impact on the club by the end of the year.
Having said that, do you want to give away any rostery things, Andy? Do you want to tell us at second base? Is it Carlos Aswaje? Is it Corey Spangenberg? Do you want to just lay that out there now?
Sure, Eric Hosmer will be at first base. I feel really good about that one. I like that, and so
valuable information.
Yeah, it's. I think that's safe to say right now.
I don't think you're going to give us the other two in the starting rotation, right? I mean, we know Clayton Richard, we know Dinelson Lamet, we know Brian Mitchell, but you're not going to just throw out those other two names either.
I could throw out a lot more names than just two, but it's been tough. It's tough because like we see positive signs in Luis Perdomo, and Chris Young had his one hiccup in camp, and then he went on a backfield and dominated for 5 innings. It was really, really good. And, you know, Tyson Ross threw against the Dodgers as well as I've seen him throw at any time since I've been in the Padres uniform. So guys are making it interesting. Robbie Erlin was good when we took him over to Salt River to face the Diamondbacks. So it's interesting right now.
I appreciate playing along with that. Looking forward to the start of the season. Andy, thank you so much.
Thanks.